My name is Ava. I'll never forget that terrifying night that shattered my sense of safety and made me realize just how vulnerable we can be. It was the moment when I heard those slow, deliberate footsteps approaching my bedroom door. Each step seemed to echo through my pounding heart. I was huddled in the corner of my bed, my body shaking uncontrollably, as I stared at the door handle that started to turn slowly. I remembered just an hour ago, when my babysitter, Lily, called me at 11 p.m. and told me to lock my bedroom door immediately. I thought she was pulling a prank. But now, as the footsteps got closer, I knew the horrible truth. Someone had been in my house all along, watching me, waiting for the perfect moment. Let me take you back to how it all started. It was a Friday night in November. My parents, who are both high-powered business executives, had to fly to New York for an important business conference. They left around 6 p.m. and they wouldn't be back until Sunday afternoon. As a 19-year-old, I thought I was more than ready to stay home alone. I was an adult, after all, and I'd stayed home by myself during the day plenty of times. But my mom, who is extremely cautious and worries about every little thing, insisted on calling Lily, our longtime babysitter. Lily had been taking care of me since I was 8 years old. She was 26 now, and she was more like an older sister to me than a babysitter. She lived just 2 blocks away in our upscale neighborhood, where everyone knew each other, and it was always so quiet and safe. My mom made Lily promise to come over around 8:30, stay for a couple of hours, and make sure I was okay. At first, I was annoyed. I mean, a babysitter? I wasn't a kid anymore. But I knew arguing with my mom would be useless, especially when she was so stressed about this important business trip. So, when Friday night came, my parents left. The house felt empty and quiet, but I didn't mind. I made myself comfortable on the luxurious couch in the living room, put on some soft music, and waited for Lily. She showed up at 8:45 with a box of my favorite chocolates and a new book. That's just the kind of thoughtful person Lily is. We sat in the living room, ate some chocolates, and talked about our week. It felt so normal and safe. By 10:45, Lily said she had to go. She had an early morning shift at the art gallery where she worked. I walked her to the front door, and she gave me a big hug. "Lock the door behind me, okay? And text me before you go to sleep," she said. I rolled my eyes but smiled. "Yes, Lily, I will." After she left, I locked the door, double-checked it, and then went upstairs to my bedroom. I changed into my pajamas, washed my face, and climbed into bed with my phone. I scrolled through social media for a while, replied to some messages from my friends, and then just relaxed. The house was completely silent except for the occasional creak of the old wooden floors, which was normal in our big, old mansion. I felt so safe and secure. Our neighborhood was like a little paradise. There were security guards patrolling the streets, and nothing bad ever happened here. My parents had lived here for 12 years without any problems. Then, at exactly 11 o'clock, my phone rang, and I saw Lily's name on the screen. I answered it casually, thinking she might have forgotten something or just wanted to say goodnight again. But the second I heard her voice, I knew something was terribly wrong. Her voice was shaky and urgent. "Ava, lock your bedroom door right now," she said. I sat up in bed, confused. "What are you talking about, Lily? Is this a joke?" I asked. She repeated herself louder, "Ava, lock your door now, please." The tone in her voice made my stomach drop. I threw off the blanket, walked to the door, and turned the lock. My hands were already trembling. "Okay, it's locked. Tell me what's going on," I said. There was a pause on the other end, and I could hear her breathing hard, like she'd been running. "When I left your house, I got halfway home and realized I forgot my sketchbook on your coffee table. I turned around and came back to get it. Ava, when I got to your front door, it was unlocked," she said. My heart started pounding. "That's impossible." I locked it right after you left. I watched myself do it, I said. I know you did. I saw you lock it, too. That's why I'm freaking out, she replied. I went inside to get my sketchbook, and I heard something upstairs. Heavy footsteps in the hallway near the bedrooms. I thought maybe your parents came home early, but their car isn't in the driveway. Then I looked up the staircase, and I saw a shadow move across the wall at the top of the stairs. Ava, someone is inside your house right now. I felt like I couldn't breathe. My bedroom suddenly felt like a prison. Where are you right now? I whispered. I'm in my car across the street. I didn't want him to see me. I already called 911. They're coming, but you need to stay quiet and stay in your room. Don't open that door for anyone except the police. Do you understand me? She said. I managed to say yes, but my voice was so soft, I wasn't sure she heard me. She told me the police would be there in 5 to 7 minutes and that she'd stay on the phone with me until they arrived. I sat back down on my bed, clutching my phone so tightly that my knuckles turned white. I could hear Lily breathing on the other end of the line, and it made me feel a little less alone. But then I started listening to the sounds in the house. At first, there was just silence. The kind of silence that makes your ears ring. I strained to hear any sign that Lily was wrong, that maybe she'd imagined it. But then, at 11:45, I heard them. Footsteps, slow and deliberate, coming down the hallway toward my room. I pressed my hand over my mouth to keep from making any sound. The footsteps got closer and closer until they stopped right outside my bedroom door. I stared at the door handle, watching it like it was a time bomb. Then it started to turn slowly. Whoever was out there was checking if my door was locked. I heard Lily's voice whisper through the phone, Ava, what's happening? Talk to me. I could barely form words. Someone's at my door, I whispered. Oh God, okay, don't move. Don't make any noise. The police are almost there, she said. The door handle stopped turning for a few seconds. There was complete silence, and I thought maybe the person had left. But then I heard the footsteps again, this time moving away from my door and heading toward my parents' bedroom. I heard a door creak open, and then drawers being pulled out, things being moved around. I remembered that my dad kept a safe in his bedroom closet with important business documents and a large amount of cash. If this person found it, would they just leave or come back for me? I sat frozen on my bed, listening to the sounds of someone rummaging through my parents' things in the next room. Lily kept whispering through the phone, asking if I was okay, telling me the police were less than 2 minutes away, begging me to stay quiet and stay put. But my mind was racing with 1,000 terrifying thoughts. What if this person got angry that there wasn't more in the safe? What if they decided to check every room in the house? I knew I couldn't just sit there and wait. I remembered that my bedroom window faced the front of the house. If I could get to the window, maybe I could signal to Lily where the intruder was. I told her what I was thinking, and she immediately said, No, Ava, just stay where you are. Don't do anything. But I was already moving. I crept across my bedroom floor as quietly as possible, avoiding the spots I knew would creak. Every step felt like an eternity. My heart was beating so loud that I was sure the person in my parents' room could hear it through the walls. I reached the window and carefully lifted it open just a few inches. The cold November air hit my face, and I could see Lily's car parked across the street with the headlights off. I could barely make out her silhouette in the driver's seat. I looked around my room for something to signal her. My eyes landed on my bedside lamp. I unplugged it from the wall, carried it to the window, and flashed it 3 times toward her car. On the phone, I heard her gasp and say, I see you. What are you doing? Get away from that window. I whispered as quietly as I could, he's in my parents' bedroom, 2nd floor, right side of the house. Tell the police. I saw Lily's shadow move in her car, probably texting or calling the police with that information. For a moment, I felt like I'd done something smart. But then everything went wrong. The sounds from my parents' room suddenly stopped. Complete silence. And in that silence, I realized I'd made a terrible mistake. When I opened the window, it had made a small sliding sound. The person in my parents' room had heard me. Before I could move away from the window, I heard the footsteps again. This time, they were fast, almost running, coming back down the hallway, straight toward my room. I dropped the lamp and scrambled back to my bed, my whole body shaking. Lily was saying something urgent through the phone, but I couldn't process her words. All I could hear were those footsteps getting closer and closer until they stopped right outside my door again. Then came 3 slow, deliberate knocks. Each knock felt like a punch to my gut. Nobody said anything, just those 3 knocks hanging in the air like a threat. I pulled my knees up to my chest and wrapped my arms around them, trying to make myself as small as possible. Lily was almost yelling through the phone, "Ava, answer me. What's happening? The police are turning onto your street right now." I managed to whisper, "He's at my door again." "He knocked." She said, 30 seconds. "Ava, they're 30 seconds away. Just hold on." But then the person on the other side of the door spoke. His voice was calm and steady, and it was absolutely terrifying because of how normal it sounded. "I know you're in there. I know you called someone, but here's what you don't know," he said. He continued, "I've been in your house before, Ava. Multiple times. I know every inch of this place. I know you keep your diary in the bottom drawer of your desk. I know you have a secret stash of cookies in the pantry. I know you sing in the shower when you think no one's listening. I know everything about you, Ava." My entire body went numb. How did he know all these personal details about my life? I looked toward Lily's car through my window, and I could see the red and blue police lights reflecting off the houses down the street, getting brighter and closer. The man kept talking. "Your babysitter forgot her sketchbook tonight, didn't she? So careless. But I knew she would. I've been watching this house for 4 weeks now, learning everyone's routines, everyone's patterns, everyone's mistakes. I knew your parents would be gone this weekend for their business trip. I knew you'd be here alone. And I knew Lily would come back for that sketchbook because she's always forgetting something. That's exactly when I slipped in through your back door while she was walking to her car." The pieces started to connect in my mind, and I felt sick. He'd been watching us, studying us, planning this for weeks. He knew our schedules, and he'd been inside our house before while we were home, touching our things, learning about us, and we never noticed. The sirens were getting louder now. The man's voice changed, becoming more urgent and angry. "You got lucky tonight, Ava. Your babysitter got lucky. But this isn't over. I know what college you go to. I know your favorite coffee shop. I know where you park your car. I know your whole life, and I'll be watching." Then I heard him run. His footsteps pounded down the stairs so fast it sounded like he was taking them 2 at a time. I heard a door slam somewhere in the back of the house. Through the phone, Lily screamed, "He's running out the back. Ava, stay in your room. Don't open your door." Within seconds, I heard the front door burst open and heavy boots running through my house. Multiple voices shouted, "Police! Show your hands! Police department!" Someone pounded on my bedroom door hard enough to make me jump. A deep voice yelled, "Police! Ava, are you in there? We're here to help you." My hands were shaking so badly that I could barely turn the lock, but I managed to get the door open. 2 police officers stood there in full uniform, and one of them immediately stepped forward and wrapped a warm blanket around my shoulders. The officer asked, "Are you hurt? Did he touch you? Are you injured in any way?" I shook my head because I couldn't make words come out of my mouth. The other officer was speaking into his radio. Suspect fled through the back exit, heading east toward the woods. We need units on the perimeter now. Then I heard Lily screaming my name from downstairs, and the officers let her through. She ran up the stairs and pulled me into the tightest hug I'd ever felt. We were both crying and shaking and holding on to each other like we'd never let go. She kept saying, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I should have stayed with you. This is my fault." But it wasn't her fault. None of this was her fault. A female officer gently separated us and guided me downstairs to the living room, where more police were searching through everything with flashlights and cameras. She sat me down on the couch and said, "We need to ask you some questions." And then she said something that made my stomach drop even further. "We found evidence that he's been in your house multiple times before tonight. We need you to help us figure out what else he might have done." The police spent 4 hours going through every inch of our house that night. What they found made me sick to my stomach. They discovered that the man had been inside our home at least 8 different times over the past 4 weeks. He'd moved small things around, so subtly that we never noticed. A painting on the wall was slightly crooked, a book on the shelf was in the wrong place. But the worst part was what they found on my phone. The detective sat me down and explained that while I was sleeping, the intruder had come into my room, used my face to unlock my phone, taken photos of me sleeping, scrolled through my messages and photos, and then deleted his tracks. They were able to recover some of the deleted files. Seeing those photos of myself asleep and completely vulnerable made me feel violated in a way I can't even describe. The police also searched our backyard with flashlights and dogs. About 60 feet into the woods behind our property, they found a small camping setup hidden behind thick bushes. There was a tent, a sleeping bag, binoculars, and 4 notebooks filled with pages and pages of handwritten notes about my family. What time my dad left for work, what time my mom came home, what days I had classes, what we ate for dinner, when we turned off the lights at night. Every detail of our lives written down like we were some kind of experiment. The man was identified as Henry Thompson, 36 years old. He'd worked as a landscaper for our neighborhood association until he was fired 3 months earlier for being lazy and unprofessional. Apparently, he'd done work on our property before, and that's how he first noticed our house and our family. The police told us he had a history of stalking charges in another state, but nothing that had sent him to prison. He'd been living in those woods behind our house for at least 4 weeks, maybe longer. The police launched a massive search, but Henry disappeared that night. For 3 days, I barely slept. Every sound made me jump. Every shadow looked like a person. My parents came home immediately after the police called them. My mom didn't leave my side for a week. We installed state-of-the-art security cameras everywhere, motion sensors on every door and window, and my dad even got a high-tech security system that alerts the police automatically if anything is triggered. I started seeing a therapist twice a week because I was having panic attacks and nightmares. On the 4th day after the break-in, police in a town 30 minutes away responded to another attempted break-in. A man reported seeing someone trying to force open his back door. When officers arrived, they found Henry hiding in the shed. He tried to run, but they caught him. He was arrested and charged with stalking, multiple counts of breaking and entering, attempted burglary, and making criminal threats. At his trial, prosecutors used the notebooks, the recovered photos from my phone, and security footage from neighbors' cameras that showed him watching our house on multiple nights. He was sentenced to 18 years in prison with no possibility of early parole. Even though he's locked up now, I still think about that night constantly. The scariest part wasn't the break in itself. It was realizing that my normal, safe life had been an illusion. While I was living my life, he was out there, watching us, waiting for the right moment to strike. I've learned that safety isn't something you can just assume. You have to actively protect it. Now, I check locks multiple times. I notice when things are out of place. I trust my instincts when something feels wrong. And I'll never take for granted the people who care about me, like Lily, who literally saved my life by coming back for her sketchbook that night.